What is happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the channel. We've got a really cool rescue today. This is a 1940 Plymouth Deluxe. Been sitting for quite a few years. In fact, the owner that we are purchasing it from, her family owned this car in this house. The house has been vacant for a few decades. This car has been parked here her entire life. This car has been parked for over 65 years in this spot right here. And in today's video, we're gonna get it dragged out of here. We're gonna rescue this thing. We're gonna try to get it running. Let's see if we can get this thing moving again for the first time in over 65 years. Is it not one of the coolest things, seeing these old cars lift back up out of the ground? Blows my mind some of the tires we actually see take air. The front is an original. The other three are years old, but they're still taking air too. What's really cool, we found the original wheels. So in the barn here, and I'm not sure if they were gonna put new tires on them or what, but there are a couple of the original wheels. And you see two more here of the original wheels. See with the original tires. A couple Ford wheels that we'll use, and then an old tire for the Model A. But what I'm really excited about, the original hubcaps, all the grill trim, and the original headlight bezels. Those were gonna be really hard to find, and I am so glad they were hiding in the barn. Well, we made it back. For some reason, unfortunately, this tire didn't hold air for very long. I'm surprised it actually held air at all, though. That just goes to show how different stuff was back then, even in tires. Now, one thing to remember, we're swapping this out so we get it off the trailer. It's actually not even tight, but you'll see an L on there. This is actually left-hand threads, so you want to tighten them off. What's cool is we found this 60s tire there at the estate as well. You can still see some of the sticker left. It's brand new. Not a bit of dry rot on it. Obviously not something you'd actually want to like drive on, but a perfect roller. What's amazing is just how original this thing is. I mean, it literally just stopped in time. All of the wiring, which is gonna have to be redone, is original. All the cabling, I think the spark plugs may be original. All the spark plug wires, the clips, the looms, the clamps, the hoses, or at least what's left of them, are original. And some of the hoses have literally just disintegrated. Radiator hose just completely disintegrated. Little bit left of the wires. Look at this coil stuck in here. Is that not awesome? Every bit of rubber looks like, I don't know, bubble gum now. It's just not very often that you get to dig into something that is so untouched and has been for so many years. Now, first thing jumping in, we're gonna cover the fenders up, and let's get the air hose and the vacuum cleaner out here, and let's get all of this junk cleaned out of the engine bay here. There's a little bit of plastic that's disintegrated. We've got some mouse nest stuff going on here. We just want to get all of that out of the way before we start digging in. Of course, can't forget, man, that's an antique mud dauber nest. Poor old dipstick kind of blends in there, and it's got it's got molasses for oil. Woo! It's almost red. Half and half decent looking oil, and then there's some rust here, so that means we've had some moisture, some condensation, which is to be expected. I mean, it was covered but still outdoors. I think our big telltale now though is, let's pull these spark plugs. Look at these old cloth wires. Oh, and the boots are held down with the nuts. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Start on number one here. Oh, not too shabby. Oh, that's not too shabby at all. 5, 6. Oh, that's nice. That is. Oh, look at that. Autolite A7. That's got to be the oldest. Look how nice the cylinder is. Just a little bit of condensation. That has to be the oldest plug I've ever pulled out of something. That's so cool. Cylinder number 2. That's a little ugly. Yeah, that's a little real ugly. They're not the worst we've seen so far, but they're definitely crunchy. And that is why we do what we do right here. That has definitely seen moisture. All right, so far we're 4 for 4 for moisture. 5. That one's probably the best one so far. Last one. Yeah, it's got some junk in there. Definitely some condensation. Probably, I mean, we should have expected that. Anyways, before we try to do anything, let's fill those cylinders slap full. We're gonna let this thing soak for a while, maybe even a couple days. Then I'm gonna grab it by the belt. We might try to grab it down at the crank with a ratchet and see if we can turn it over by hand. If this thing does have some pretty good rust on the rings, if we started trying to crank it over by the starter, it might just rip stuff apart and destroy stuff, and we don't want to do that. Feels like a slippy belt. Yeah, we're gonna have to get. We're gonna have to get something on the crank. Now the issue we're running into is you're right here at the era where stuff still had hand cranks. At least the engines did. And this one doesn't have a pass through, but it's got a big old crazy nut that you're able to get a hand crank on there. And so we can't get a socket on it. I'm gonna try a screwdriver. If we can't get it, then we'll probably pull the starter because I want to feel it by hand. There's no way. Okay, well, we're gonna replace this filter anyways. Let's pull the filter, let's pull that starter, see if we can get at the flywheel. Well, there's a flywheel down there. It's got some well-worn teeth. Let's see if this thing spins over. Oh, not a problem whatsoever. That is smooth. Make sure we get some nice, clean revolutions. Maybe this seems a little extreme, but I would rather just be safe than sorry. It's easy enough to pull ahead. No point in destroying it. It's a good full revolution. We're better now without hiccup. I think we're good. Thank goodness. Let's drain this oil. Before finagling this thing back in the car would probably be a good idea to make sure the starter does function. So we're gonna try to jump it off here. And of course we want to remember this is a positive ground. Oh my goodness. Okay, that solenoid's frozen. Okay, so that comes off, and then we need to work on cleaning this up. There it goes. Fancy. Starter back in, but before we go turning this thing over, as long as this thing is sat, most of your crud and junk is gonna have settled down to the bottom of that oil pan. We'll get our filter put back on, and then before we start turning it over and pumping that junk through here, let's change it. Get an idea of what's down there, if there's moisture, crud, sludge, which is a good possibility, and then we can start turning it over. And if we get this thing running, we can always change the oil again if we feel like it needs it and everything is cycled. It's just cheap insurance. Wow, is this thing solid. Full exhaust. Oh no, that's not a full exhaust. Some of it exhaust. There is still a battery. It'd be kind of cool. I want to see how old that battery is. And of course a bunch of nuts. Solid old floor. Oh. That's not bad. Had a little bit of bloop right at the beginning, but that's pretty nice oil. Woo, that stinks. There is something about, call me silly, but this oil, it's all, I mean, all oil's old, but this old oil just has such a distinct smell when it comes out of these old cars from the 30s and tractors from the 30s and stuff. My goodness. It's really not horrible, but right here in the bottom, we definitely have a little bit of sludge, and get Dad to pour just a little bit of diesel down in this thing. Kind of shake it through and let it run out. Making a mess.
Yeah, of course.
We got funnels. We got funnels.
That wouldn't be no fun.
There you go. Oh yeah, that's much better. Even though we're not going to use this, I do want to take a look and see what this battery looks like. Check that out. Ooh, it's disintegrating. Positive, negative, and this is the negative, positive. Here she goes. What? It's the generator, and that generator is beautiful.
Yes, that's a good generator.
Well, it's spinning over. We've got fresh oil in it. Let's look and see if the oil pressure tries to pop up at all. We know we got to fill up this oil filter, which it shouldn't matter because that's a bypass style. And then let's start trying to figure out our ignition system. Now that we are turning over, I'm gonna throw my finger over the spark plug holes, and let's just make sure we don't have any dead cylinders at this point. All right, cylinder 1 is completely dead. Cylinder 2. Okay, completely dead. Cylinder 3. All right, kind of ish. Cylinder 4. Completely dead. Cylinder 5. Really nice. Cylinder 6. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Will it run on 2.5 cylinders? Oh yeah. Well, we got oil pressure. That's a start. Ooh, those are crunchy. Kind of one of those things. New stuff tends to be kind of junk. So first thing we'll do is try to clean the points up, get them making some contact, and see if the condenser still works. Get in here with a pretty light duty wire brush and try to clean these up the best we can. See if we can't clean up the rest. This stuff is just, normally I would just pull points out to clean them. It's just something I kind of like to do, but these are, everything in here's pretty delicate. So we're gonna try not to tear anything up if we don't have to. With a good bit of cleaning and some lubricating, we can take our ohm meter, make a connection, kick them apart and they break, make a connection, break. Beautiful. Okay, so this coil does go through the firewall and into that, and it runs up into the ignition switch. And that is one thing we completely forgot to actually even look for, was keys. There was a box of keys, and we dug through them last time when we had pulled some other cars off of this estate, and we forgot to look for them for this. So we need to find that before we start tearing into the ignition stuff. But maybe for now, let's just see if we can get another 6-volt coil on here. Borrowed the 6-volt coil out of another car, specifically the Model A. Got it wired in here. Nothing. Got a known good coil. The points are functioning, seem to be functioning like they should, so that means we've probably got a bad condenser. How about we just put it on the right terminal? I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of how I expected that to go. That old stuff is just made a whole lot different than new stuff is today. And I just noticed the only rubber that looked like it might exist still on this thing, which was the oil sending unit hose, has started spewing. So let's see if we can get either another hose in place, or maybe we can make something up to at least get us by for now. So they're all moving good. Wonder, we've done it before, so when you have issues with the valves actually seating, most of the time it's just crud, and you can see old carbon buildup, and then once we put Marvel Mistral in there, it kind of breaks everything up. It just makes a mess of those combustion chambers, keeps those valves from seating nicely. So I think now that we have ignition, we've got oil in here, I'm gonna do this oil line really quick. We'll put some Lucas down in this thing, and hopefully that'll help seal up those valves and give us enough compression for once we mess with the fuel system for this thing to actually try to fire up. And if it'll fire up and run, most of the time it'll clear that junk out. If not, unfortunately, we will have to pull the head and see if we can get everything cleaned up and those valves taken care of. But they're all moving, which is good signs. That should get us by for now.
Nice and thick. It's like snot.
Fresh set of plugs. We just want to verify before going in that these are 25 thousandths. Call me crazy. That's not a horrible looking carburetor. And honestly, I can probably about guarantee that on the inside it's nice and dry and clean, with the exception of maybe a little bit of varnish and some lead where the fuel had evaporated, but you're not gonna have all the ethanol junk and stuff that we have these days. And I've truly been surprised some of these older carburetors that look that nice bad on the outside. The inside seemed to look really nice. So to begin with, let's just put fuel to it. We're gonna throw the tank with the fuel pump as dry as all the rubbers are. We know the diaphragm and the fuel pump is bad. I got a kit. We'll pull that and rebuild it. But for now, let's get an electric fuel pump to this thing and see if it even tries to hold fuel. Of course, our boat tank run to a little electric fuel pump.
There it goes. Is that gas? Oh wow, it's leaking everywhere. Like everywhere.
It's not dripping. I couldn't get a carburetor kit locally. I ordered one a week ago and it didn't ship out until this week, so we're kind of waiting on it. Let's choke this thing off and turn it over and see if it wants to try to fire off. And go ahead, please. Kind of wanted it, didn't it? Come on, baby. Oh, it wants it. We're so close. If this thing turned over just a little quicker, it might try to fire off. So what we're going to use here is a 12-volt battery. Hopefully that'll give us just a little bit more turning over. From what we've done in the past, you can safely jump out instead of running 12-volt here and just give it a little bit more amperage to hopefully start turning this thing over a bit better. My goodness. Hang over, Dad. Let's just see what cylinders are doing anything now. You know what I mean? We might try to work on those a little bit more. Wow, that was popping hard. What the heck? Hold on. It was, and then it stopped. Ain't gonna run on that then. We tried, but things don't tend to run without compression. Let's pull the head. I guess it wouldn't be for us if it was easy, would it be? Okay. Don't think those wires are any account. No, that's getting scary. So I wanted to check the size to see if this is an 11/16, and I stuck it on this. That's been, do you see how long that's been broken? That's been broken since long before you were born.
Oh, that's old.
He said it, not me. He said it. All right, well, one broken one. It was broke before we got into it. We'll have to fix. Those are some crunchy valves. Those are some beautiful cylinder walls though. I don't know why the valves weren't closing. Oh man, that's funny. Definitely fight your valves. That is it's actually like carbon buildup and like mold and like other stuff combined. I mean, that's several years of sitting collecting junk. Let's get it all cleaned up. So you've got hardened valve seats and everything down in here, so getting in here with this wire brush isn't gonna hurt anything, and hopefully it'll get everything off of here and get this this valve sealing up good. It actually feels really, really nice. Real smooth, no major pits or grooves, which is nice, but it's just that junk holding this thing. What do you do with that other? With everything cleaned up now, we're noticing some of these valves are a little sticky. Looks good. Before that cylinder head can go back on, we've got to try to do something with this broken bolt. Dad wire brushed it up really well. We've got a nut. Thank goodness we have a couple-ish threads there. Run it down, and then I'm just gonna throw a whole booger of weld down in there, and we'll throw an impact on it and keep our fingers crossed it'll come out of there. I'm gonna turn this thing up, get this thing gooby gobby glowing hot. Hopefully make that nut one with the bolt, and the heat too should maybe help break some of the rust loose. Well, that's about as no-go as you could imagine a bolt that stuck would be. All we can do is drill it out at this point.
Look at that. Come on, come on, come on. Somebody drilled it pretty center. Look at that. Mm-hmm.
Gone. It's got to be the craziest looking old thermostat, and probably the original. Woohoo! We literally just made a bolt. Looks pretty good, cleaned up. A couple little pits of imperfection. And what I've done is sprayed some copper gasket sealant on our head gasket just to take care of that. But there's no crazy warps or anything. There was no signs of it having a blown head gasket. It doesn't look like it warped as we pulled it up. So I think we're good to go. Let's get this thing put back together. As we run all of our bolts in, we want to remember this is a type 2 non-hardening sealant. All of these holes, the bolt holes, are drilled straight through into either intake ports or water jackets. And if you don't put this stuff up on here, it's gonna leak up past your bolts. Now, torque on here is 65 and then 70, and I'll start from the center here. We'll work our way out and then across. I guess something that's nice with an old flathead like this, and honestly, a lot of folks working on these back in the day probably didn't even have torque specs, because I don't think you're gonna over torque a thing on that old engine. Now, with that small project addressed, do we have compression? I'm gonna cheat and start back here just because I don't want my feelings hurt quite yet. Cylinder number 6. 5. 4. Woo, 3. Those are some poppers. 2. And 1. I think it might just fire up on that. Our carburetor kit has come in, and it would only be fair to that poor starter to spend a little bit of time and rebuild this old carburetor. Plus, I want to see what this thing looks like under the grime so bad. And there is our oh so beautiful carburetor. Oh. Now, it's time to make some good soup. Always interested in seeing just how the condition of these carbs are on the inside. You know, they always look so gross on the outside, but my goodness, refuel's a whole lot different back then. Look at that. It's like brand new in there. Oh no! It doesn't smell horrendous because it obviously had no fuel in it. This is fuel that is mixed with fresh gas that is mixed with what varnish was down in here. So there is our needle valve. It's just a metal one, so it's still actually surprisingly decent shape. Our float here, we know it wasn't just completely overflowing, so float doesn't look horrendous. Nice and dry on the inside. Yummy. Looks like molasses. But, oh yeah, look at that. So that is all lead. So what this is where the fuel has evaporated. Obviously this is the time of lead fuels. You see all that silver gray in there. And I actually didn't know this until a subscriber brought it up to me. These cars have been sitting for this long. That's all the old lead fuel that has actually evaporated. That's really neat. Got a jet, which surprisingly is clear. And an idle jet, which is actually clear as well. So this thing probably would have kind of run off of that, but not super well. Look at that old leather. Kind of still just a little bit pliable. Not super good, but the fact it still exists is just crazy. There is some play. It's not horrible. We'll get it cleaned up and see. We might have to ream this out and put some bushings in that throttle shaft. Keep count of our air mixture screw here. Half. Yeah, it was only half out. So what we've got in here is just a 50-50 heavy duty degreaser and water, and a inexpensive eBay special ultrasonic cleaner. Excited to see how this turns out. Holy moly, is that some good soup. Oh wow, this is gonna be good. Actually super surprised with how well this thing cleaned up. I mean, it was so protected by all the gunk, with the exception of just a little bit of corrosion in the bottom of the bowl. It is super nice. Let's get this thing thrown back together. And of course, one thing to keep in mind is that all of your little passageways and jets and everything are nice and clear, which we did verify. It's not Amazon. Let's see if our carb rebuild holds. Seems like it took fuel and held it no problem. Do we have an accelerator? Oh yeah. With some compression, we've got some fuel now. Hopefully that carburetor's okay. Fire some fresh oil in here. I think it's time to see if this thing will actually fire up now. There was a bit involved, 65 years at least of sitting. We knew we were getting into some of that, and quite honestly, for as long as it sat, opening this thing up, pretty clean on the inside, given the circumstances. I mean, it's amazing how much being undercover does for a car. You ready? Let's do it. Yeah, it does have compression now. Ooh, 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 ooh. We have to get turning over a little happier. Come on, baby, come on. Oh, so close. Nothing but gas in there. Okay, so we're pulling compression now. Fuel's going down, but nothing is making it to the plugs. Blowing through, I am getting some kind of a goulash. It's not, it's like oily, I don't know what. It's coming through here. Kind of gassy. Every runner is blowing air through, so we're getting pull to the cylinders. You know what? We do need to cap this off because this is just wide open. What's fun about this too is 98% of the time you don't know why this stuff was parked, and that's all part of the digging in and figuring it out process. This thing could have been parked because it had major running issues.
It wanted it.
Oh, stay running. Hold on a second. Is it blowing exhaust?
I don't know why.
Don't know why it would be. I heard it, but it wasn't like, it was like.
Well, you know it's half coming out the muffler too.
Okay, let's try again. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's so close. Oh my goodness. Man, it moved up fast! Woo! It just needed some compression! It sounds healthy! Come see how smooth this thing is! Hey, what's the oil pressure look like?
45, 50 pounds.
It's idling! Okay. No coolant, we can't run it long. How awesome is that? All right, let's kill it. Dude, does that smell good? No, not really, but it does. That right there is the sweet smell of success. That ain't barely warm at all. Now that we got it ran and everything is kind of worked in and probably blown a bunch of stuff out of the exhaust, we already did look back through some of the footage, and the tailpipe, there's like literally nothing coming out of it. And we know it's squished a little bit and that muffler's all clogged up and everything. So this thing definitely needs some exhaust and it'll be a little bit happier. But with everything worked in, we're just gonna 6-volt it. Let's see if it'll fire right back up. Listen to that. That's awesome. What's crazy is Dad just mentioned this thing ran without, I mean, there was a lot that went into it, but that was almost 6 decades of sitting issues we had to address. This thing was driven where it was, and it was literally just parked and left. It's just crazy, so crazy to think how many cars that happens to. You know, a new car comes up, these things are obviously pretty worn. You know, cars wore out. A car was done at 100,000 miles, you know, and this thing probably has, we can't see the odometer, but I'd imagine getting close to 100,000 miles, which was good parking time and time for a new cruiser. But the stories that this car could tell, if it could tell, it's just a neat piece of history. And the fact that at least 65 years of sitting, and now this thing is fired back to life again. What a fun rescue, and we can't wait to take this thing to the next step. So moving forward, the cooling system is a nightmare on this thing. It is just packed full of mud dauber. So we've got to tear all of that apart. We'll go through the radiator, make sure it'll hold, get some new hoses and everything on there, get a thermostat back in it, and then we'll pull all the wheels off, and we're gonna build the brakes. We'll get some tires on this thing. We'll attempt its first drive. And then of course, a really good outside clean and detail video, and then blow that interior apart and refresh it. So a few things to look forward to in some episodes moving forward, but we really hope you all have enjoyed. And if you have, be sure to subscribe button, notification bell to keep up with future uploads on this rescue, our other rebuilds, and some really fun future rescues as well. And if you have been a part of the channel, we do appreciate it so incredibly much. We get to do this right here, rescue these pieces of history because of each and every one of you. So thank you, peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.